Hey everybody, this is Morgan J. Ingram here with SDR Chronicle number 52, and thank you so much everybody for the responses I've got from you guys on my promotion to Sales Development Manager. Again, I really do appreciate it as they continue to flow in. And in this episode, what I'm going to talk about is the process in my 1 year as an SDR and in that progression into SDR manager and basically my story. For some of you guys who may not know my story, I graduated from the University of Georgia in May 2015, and I really didn't know where I wanted to go. So, after I graduated, someone brought me to the Atlanta Tech Village. I met someone through there. That person told me about Terminus, and I, cold called Tony Bennett to basically win an opportunity here to work at Terminus. So, as you guys know, it did play out. So, I started as a sales development representative at January 25th. So, in 2016. And then I went through my process, started the SDR Chronicles, and then now I'm the sales development manager. So I want to tell you guys that story because, there always is an opportunity to succeed. There always is an opportunity to get the results that you want. And in life, you have to realize that every single opportunity you have, you need to maximize that opportunity with the work that you put in. Getting an opportunity at whatever company you get is fantastic, but what is more important and more crucial is the work and the execution that you put into that once you get there. That's more important than anything else that you do, is the work that you put in for that. And so previously, I didn't know anything about a marketing automation. I had no idea what a campaign strategy is. Sure as heck had no idea what account-based marketing really was, and I didn't even know what a CRM was. I didn't have a quota-carrying role, never was in a sales role, had never been employed by anyone else. So basically, as you see where I'm going with this, I had absolutely zero experience to even be in the position that I was in, and even now that I'm currently in. However, the biggest thing overall is how much do you really want it and how much do you really want to execute? So I'm going to talk about 5 things that I learned from my journey as a sales development representative, 5 things that I've learned as I've been in the tech world that you can use and execute in your career that I believe that were incremental to my success and my ongoing success. So number 1 is that you have to be hungry to learn. I told Lucas Oyoke and Tony Bennett in my interview, I said, there's going to be people that will have more experience than me. There will be people who have, hit quota more than me, who have even had to have quota. There are going to be people who have been in tech longer than me. But I said there's the one thing that most people will not be able to do that I will be able to do is that I'm hungry to learn. I'm willing for you to break down every single call that I have. I'm willing for you to look over every single response I have, look over my prospecting, look over everything. I'm so hungry to learn that I'm able to catch up to that years of experience that I may be lacking. And I believe that was an incremental part of my success. As soon as I started, I was just hungry to learn. I basically talked to every single person in the organization on what are the keys to success, how to win, how to actually get out there and do the things that you need to do at the end of the day to actually see the true results. So I think that the number one thing is when you get into something new and you feel like you're disadvantaged, you need to just be hungrier to learn. And I think a lot of people come into certain things and they feel like they don't know what to do and they're lost, or they feel like they know everything. When you feel like you know everything, you've already lost. You have to be hungry to learn every single day. So I sat down in rooms with Lucas and we would break down cold calls. Weekly with Tony, we would do cold call practice just so I could get better at overcoming objections. I read every single day. I tried to read a sales hacker article or just see who else was posting material through LinkedIn. I was so hungry to learn that I would always try new tactics I read and basically executed them on my role. And sometimes they didn't work, sometimes they did. But the process of hungry to learn is overall incremental to when you get into a new role or anything that you're trying to do to actually maximize that opportunity. So that was number 1 thing that I learned in my first year was, hey, you got to be hungry to learn. Number 2 is within the hungry to learn, make an organized schedule. This is something that I learned about 3-4 months in. In high school and college, honestly, I really didn't have a schedule. I kind of just did what I had to do. If I had to study, I had to study, right? If I had to go to class, then I guess I got to go to class, right? There was no organization of when I needed to study and when I needed to do certain things. I hadn't learned that yet. And so within this role, I knew what I needed to do, but it never was actually, I was never actually held accountable because I didn't put it on my calendar. So the biggest thing that I did is made an organized schedule. I wrote an article about this. 8:30 to 10 o'clock calls, 10 to 11 personalized emails, 11 o'clock break, 11:30 to 12 West Coast, 12 to 1 lunch, 1 to 2 West Coast, 2 to 3 prospecting, 3 o'clock break, 3:30 to 4:30 calls, right? 4:35 cleaning up Salesforce, looking at Double Touch, figuring out what my next activities for the next day. That's what I did. And because I did that, I saw just leaps and bounds of success because I knew that it was less energy I had to spend going into the office every single day, right? Like, because I knew my schedule, I wasn't lost. It's like, think about college, right? Think about if every single day you didn't really know what time your classes were. So you had to wake up every single day to find that out. That's a waste of energy. That's a waste of time, right? Think about if, I know that you guys, maybe some of you played sports, right? Like when I played basketball, our practice time was the same time every single week. There was no change up unless something incremental happened. So we knew, okay, at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, I got to go to practice, right? What if practice changed every single day? It mess you up. So that's why it's important to actually have a schedule for your process. And as I saw that in my career and in my life, I started getting way more organized. Like my calendar now, like it's filled up because I know that if I don't put that on the calendar, I'm probably not going to do it or I'll forget. So I made sure to have an organized schedule because an organized schedule gets organized results. And that's what you want in your SDR career. And that's what you want in your career in general. You want a schedule that's going to lead to a process of success. So that's what I started doing across the board. Even with my the gym life, I'd go in the morning and it's organized. And I know I need to do that every single day. So I think that was the biggest thing overall is that I needed to understand how to get that organized schedule so I could go out there and get that. So that was number 2. Number 3 was the ability to adjust. I mean, I was the 22nd employee here at Terminus, and now we're almost at 100 employees. So I had the ability to adjust. The times when I was the 5th SDR on the team to now being the SDR manager, a lot has changed. So if I did not have the ability for adjustments, if I didn't understand how to adjust during the change, then I would have lost, right? I wouldn't be able to adjust with the times, and I wouldn't be able to get the results that I have. So I think it's important as an SDR, as a management team, as just person who's pursuing high success in their career, you have to be able to adjust to what is going on. So the biggest thing for me is that when, okay, this isn't working, I got to adjust and add something else. So like when I realized that I was getting good results, but I could be getting better results if I just made a schedule, I made a schedule, right? When I realized that calls and emails were working, and then my Twitter was working, but I needed to focus a little bit more on LinkedIn, I focused more on LinkedIn, right? When Vidyard had viewed it out, I realized, wait, I can add even more process to it. I can adjust, and I need to add more video to my outreach, right? I realized that, hey, I can have these amount of emails that I'm sending out, but what if I have a more personalized approach? It's the adjustments that you make within your career that adjust the trajectory of your career, right? If you're not making the appropriate adjustments, then you're ultimately setting yourself up for failure. Look at Blockbusters. They didn't adjust. Where's Blockbuster, right? It's the little things, right? You have to be able to adjust. Just like Uber, taxis are starting to be, they're not being used as much, right? Airbnb, the things that the innovation changes and the world changes, you have to be able to adjust with it so you can still get the same results. Don't get too caught up in the things that may have worked in the past, and then you realize that you're so worked up on it that you're actually not able to execute on the level that you think that you can. So that was the biggest thing for me, is the ability to adjust every single day. There's things that changed in the sales development role here at Terminus, but the factor that I had to adjust to actually make them successful in my career was the biggest incremental thing that I saw across the board, and every single rep on the team had to adjust and had to understand these are the things I have to do to be successful, or it doesn't matter. So that was number 3, ability to adjust. That's the biggest thing that I learned, and I'll continue to learn that in my career as I go throughout the different tracks that I go through, is that you have to adjust. Everything's not going to be the same, and everything's not going to have the same pill formula. So number 4 is persuasion ability. The fact, this is so huge, and I think a lot of people don't really see this in the sales development representative role is the persuasion ability. Like the fact that to the skill set to call someone on the phone out of the blue and ask them for an appointment for 30 minutes. And the highest asset for everyone is time. And to take and basically have that 30 minutes on their calendar because you brought value to a stranger is incrementally huge for your entire career. If you're able to do that day in, day out for a year, 2 years, 3 years, how long you're in the sales development role, like that carries over for the long run. So that's one thing I learned this past year is that I have no fear really making a cold call. I have no fear overcoming objection. I have no fear pushing back because of the confidence that I've established throughout this role, and also because my persuasion ability has increased leaps and bounds, and I'm able to persuade someone in the way that I can make them see the value on why whatever product, Terminus, for example, is important for their business. And that's because of persuasion. And that's what the sales development role taught me in my career, is that you have to be able to have that persuasion ability as you continue to grow in your career, because it's super important to have people that you're trying to bring value to see what you're trying to display to them. So as I was doing this role, I realized that my persuasion ability started incrementally increasing because you're basically getting on the phone with strangers and you're trying to get their time, which people don't like wasting their time. And if you can learn how to do that with success and flawlessness, that is a skill that you will never, 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 never be able to disregard, because it's so important. So yes, I believe the persuasion skills that I've grown in this career has helped me so much, especially with the leadership team that has really coached me in that effort. Is that's just really big because everyone's gonna have pushback, but if you have that persuasion to see the light that you see, then that's really big because you're only trying to bring that individual value. So that's one thing that I've learned for this role as it continues to grow, and that's for my whole entire career, because that's just important. And number 5, this is the biggest one. I mean, I've talked about this all the time, and as most of you know, I'm the biggest Gary Vaynerchuk fan in the world. It's phenomenal work ethic. It's phenomenal hustle. This is what this sales development career has really taught me. And I don't know if most of you know Jim Tucci, my boy, account executive here at Terminus. He really displayed that. And I never had found anyone who hustled as hard as him. He would get here literally at 5 a.m. in the morning and he'd stay till like 9 o'clock at night. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is insane. And I was coming in at 6 and I was staying till like 6. And I was like, the phenomenal work ethic, the hustle that I've seen on this team and what I've been able to establish even more so than before. Like I felt I had it, but now I feel like, yes, like it's my life. And I don't even see it as hustle anymore because like it's been ingrained so much into me. It's my subconscious. And the sales development role really builds you into just a straight phenomenal work ethic individual and a straight hustler, because you have to in order to be successful in this role. This role is super hard. I've said this before. It is simple, right, to call people, email people, social touch to new net prospects, to make them into new net business. However, it's not easy. It is not easy to wake up every single day, prospect, call on the phone, get rejected, email, not getting results, highs and lows, keeping a steady mindset. That's not easy. However, if you have the work ethic and if you have the hustle, then that just makes it a little bit easier from the hardness of how hard the role actually is. The phenomenal work ethic and the hustle behind it is huge. And that's number 5. And that's the most important to me. I feel like this career alone, this role alone, the career path sales development, has incrementally set me up for even more mental toughness and more just the work ethic has been ingrained in me so much. And what I've learned is that I really feel like I can do anything. And I feel like if you do the SDR role and you're all in with it, you can honestly do anything you want to. It doesn't matter. Marketing, I mean, you can figure out customer success, you can CEO, C-level. It's just what you learn in this role and the grind of it all. I just don't think there's nothing else. There's nothing else like it that can prepare you for just something else because of that mindset and that body framework of hustle that you develop day in and day out because of this role. The phenomenal work and the phenomenal hustle and the phenomenal work ethic. I feel like it has really groomed me to even be more locked in and more hustle oriented than ever. Because you have to get after it, right? Like, it's just you have to get after it because there's just so much going on. It's all about speed, and it's also being efficient enough, and that in itself, it carries over to every single role that you would do. So those are my 5 things, guys. Be hungry to learn, make an organized schedule, ability to adjust, persuasion skills, and phenomenal work ethic. Those are the 5 things I've really learned in the past year from my sales development role. And I know this is a longer video than most, but I really wanted to get on camera and tell you guys what I've learned in the past year. And I said from the beginning, like, no experience in this at all. Never been in a tech company, didn't even know what it was. Had no idea what VC even meant, right? It's those things. But those 5 things is what I've learned, and those 5 things is what I've realized has gotten me to this point of a leadership position and the leadership around sales development, and to provide that content and value for you guys in this marketplace every single day, as much as I can. It's really been those 5 things. And I think those 5 things, if you can execute them on a daily basis, will get you leaps and bounds towards your career and traject you in a place that you never thought that you could be. And I think those are the most things that I've learned, and I hope that you guys gain value from this video. And yeah, I just want you guys to know that, like, everything happens for a reason, but the opportunity you do with those reasons are the biggest thing. Don't take anything for granted. I've taken nothing that I've learned or executed thus far in this past year from my sales development role for granted. It's really been a great experience for me, and I've learned a ton, and I'm just really still ready to execute on the level that I'm at right now. But those are the 5 things that I've learned the most from this role, and I hope that you guys can take it and execute on your terms. And if you do have any questions for me from this video, please feel free to reach out, and I hope that you guys execute on these things that I discussed today. And as I always say, guys, keep dialing, and I'll see you guys soon.